Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy, Lao Tzu, filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and text on how we might live a more reasonable life. I just get tickled to start this show every day. It's so good. I love counting it down. It's 5:50 died. And I start it. I love doing this show, love going through this. And, we're here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. So the Tao Te Ching impressed me, the first time I read it. Now, it should be said that I really love a riddle. And I was always intrigued by all of the, all the tropes when I was a kid about, Chinese culture and their love for riddles and stuff. And I know a lot of that is, outdated now and probably offensive and other things like that. But it really sort of made me at the time really think about the idea of a riddle, and I like regular riddles as well, but there was something about observing life and figuring things out, right? This idea of problem solving. And one of the great things about the Tao is it gives us a platform to problem solve. And I will not, I don't think, even after having written the Tao, a translation of the Tao, I don't think each and every verse can fit with every situation you're going to find yourself in. And so that's why it's so key when I have a guest come up, we get some sort of a baseline. We get some sort of something about you in the ether connected between you and I. And that can't be faked, right? We can't fake that. That's something that you and I have to do. We have to connect. And as we connect, we increase that vibration of, or the energy of that baseline. And it very well may be because the Tao is so old, right? It's been in our periphery for, not quite 3,000 years, but, 2,800 years, for so long that we know instinctively it's part of our knowing. It's our cells know it because everything is connected. There is no existence. There's no time. There is no, those are all perceptions. But if we break down everything, everything is connected. We're connected to all things. So Lao Tzu or whoever wrote this is connected to us right now. Even though he doesn't, he's not alive right now. Even though we have evidence that this was written a long time ago, but it may have been. It was definitely connected to us in some way, right? And so when we pick a number, when I pick a random number, that random number is being generated through electricity. And electricity is, for me at least, I believe in an electric universe where electricity is the thing that connects and builds and destroys and does all of the things. This is what, it's not the Einstein's gravity model that I look at. I look at an electric model. And I do appreciate the catastrophists out in the world. That makes more sense to me. So from the first days I read the Tao, I was able to see that it was a riddle, and it was a riddle to be pondered, not to be known. I remember there's a rag in Chicago. There was a newspaper in Chicago that I once expressed it as, it is a paper to use, not read. And that is, like when I think about like my sort of, avoidance of reading, or my distaste for reading in general, I think about, well, I want to be able to use this. I don't want to be able to read it, right? Like, I like that purposefulness. Now, reading something has purpose. I get that. But not necessarily for me in that same way of something that I can use. I like maps, right? I like dictionaries. I like the Tao, where it's 81 verses and you can pick it up, read a very short thing, and be sent on a journey to explore yourself. Those are the kind of things that I enjoy in my life. I don't always like, just things to fill space. It's got to have these purposes. And I really do like things that do one thing, but when it comes to the Tao, it's doing so much. And the first time that I read the Tao, it was, it just blew my mind because of what it said. And the one that I read, the first verse, because it was Stephen Mitchell that, it was his, so I'm going to look up the Stephen Mitchell version really quick. And I'm going to find this verse, and I'll read my version of that verse of the Tao. And we'll see, I'll see if it, it still resonates. I'll see what maybe that did for me at that time. And I know one word. So it's 57. So 57. Interesting. So for some reason, I did a search for the word tip, because I was in a conversation yesterday with somebody and I wanted to send them the verse that talks about standing on tiptoes, robs you of firm footing, because we were talking about her business and her like stepping out of her business, and she's interested in having a job. And I wanted to send her this number 24, and it the one word that is in this verse that I know would point it out to me is tiptoes. So I put the word tip in the search bar and 24 came up, and I sent it to her. Interesting, the other place that the word tip, and it is the letters TIP in the middle of multiply. The other place TIP can be found in my Tao is in 57, the verse I'm about to read. So both 24, the verse that I was looking for yesterday, and 57, the verse I was looking for today, were highlighted when I put in the word tip. So that's just interesting. And once again, that's something that I can look back on and say, far out. I don't have to define it. I don't have to sit here and I don't have to have an answer to why that is or what's interesting. I can look at it as coincidence, knowing there's no coincidence, and just realizing that I'm being held and that this is all playing out right in front of me all the time. So Laws Are All in the Heart is my title for this. And it's interesting. I don't don't know if I want to read one or both. I mean, nobody's in the queue, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the Stephen Mitchell version. This is the version that really turned me on to the Tao. This is the text that I first encountered with the Tao Te Ching, I believe. So if you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the Master says, I let go of the law and people become honest. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. Now, I take a different approach to that, although the message is the same. Mine, titled Laws Are All in the Heart, says, Tao governs all things by discarding objectives, never possessing or interfering. All things only need abide the law in their heart. In this way, they are free from desire. When Tao is ignored, objectives rule the day. Rules are created that make people expend energy to get around them. Intelligence is praised and rewarded while products become more demonic and intrusive. Weapons are paraded, fear spreads, and the hearts of all things close off. As litigation becomes a national focus, politicians and criminals multiply. The Master needn't engage these traps. She is quiet and people follow their light. She is peaceful and people are compelled to be honest. She does nothing and all things flourish together. Have no desire and all things will achieve primal existence. That's such a, one, we could side by side these, and we can find how I got to, and there were other translations that I was looking at as well. Some other people like that can read, because I don't think Stephen Mitchell is a scholar in ancient Chinese texts. So I think he, like myself, looked at other English translations and figured out how we wanted to express what these said. When I look at these as riddles, right? Tao governs all things by discarding objectives. Like, that's a lot to unpack on its own. On the Stephen Mitchell side, it says, if you want to be a great leader, you must learn to follow Tao. A great leader, right? Tao governs all things by discarding objectives. Tao is the greatest leader. And you follow Tao to be a great leader. Tao governs all things by discarding objectives. I don't have an objective for you. You be who you are. Never possessing or interfering. So Tao doesn't possess or interfere with you. If you become a drug addict, Tao's not going to interfere. Tao's not going to try and tell you to not be a drug addict. Tao might inspire you to think that I don't like that I do this. But if you decide not to act on that thought, Tao doesn't care. And that's something that's really, when you look at these, and we're only 2 lines into this, and we're already coming to the place that's like, Tao lets me do what I want. In the world, everyone wants to interfere and possess and tell you what to do and tell you how to do it. And everyone's telling you how you're doing things wrong and all of these sorts of things everywhere. And so you never get the opportunity to take care of yourself. You never get to feel that deep autonomy of being you, because you're being, you have so many objectives, right? the objectives that are piled on you by your parents, by your neighbors, by your society, by your boss, by your coworkers, all of these different objectives from other people. And it says here, all things only need abide the law in their heart. That is all you have to do to live a good life, is abide the law in your heart. But we override that law in our heart through other people, through the desires of other people, making other people happy, making, getting into relationships where we're demanded things, whether that's friends or coworkers or, even relationships that we didn't initiate, right? Like family relationships and family dynamics. And it says, in this way, they're free of desire, right? You don't have a desire to be something. You are something. You are you. And that, if we go back to the Stephen Mitchell version, it says, we let go of fixed plans and concepts and the world will govern itself. We don't have to have fixed plans and concepts. We can just be. And if we can be, and we can inspire others to be, the world will go into the next stage very easily. And it will flow into the state that it is moving into. That's why I love these so much, because they are to be, examined. And that's fun for me. Hey, Sandy, how's it?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I had a fun thing happen to me last weekend. And it's already this weekend almost, right?
Almost, geez.
Almost. It's like right around the corner. And so I was on my way somewhere and my Waze app wasn't working correctly. Okay. And so how I had the anniversary of my friend's passing last week.
Yeah.
So I was at the point where I was getting so frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going home. I can't find it. I'm like, I'm done. Then his name came up on a street sign. Not once, but twice.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, Waze kicked on and said, your destination is 6 miles straight ahead. Yeah. I was like, thank you, Bob. It was, one of those moments where you just go, okay.
And this is when, it's like, I look at that and I'm like, oh my God. So first of all, thank you, Bob.
Yes. Thank you, Bob.
But then also the idea that in order for you to notice, Bob, Waze had to stop working.
Yeah.
And you had to give up to some degree so that you can finally pay attention. And when you paid attention, you see we're all connected. You see he's still here. You see that's all there. And it's straight ahead.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's something to, we could, that is how we're being held. That is how deeply we're being held at every moment by our ancestors, by Tao, by God, however you want to kind of look at it. But it's not asking anything of you. You just go ahead and live your life and appreciate that connection, and it will show up time and time again.
So during the week, 22 kept popping up everywhere. And that's my father. And it was, last week was tough. And emotionally, it was just, I was all over the place. And 22 popped all around me. And it's all around. I mean, you just have to sit and be quiet and see it.
Yeah, it's there. And when you think you're alone, the world will show you how alone you are. When you say, why am I so alone? The world will say, this is why. And you won't see it. You'll be like, why isn't it showing me why I'm alone? It's like, it is showing you, but it's not, but you're asking the question wrong. When you sit back and you allow the question to not be verbal necessarily. Like for you, it was, you got to a place where you were like, oh, I can't do this. And Bob was like, right, you can't do this, but we can.
Yeah. And it's funny because I haven't told anyone this. You're the first person I've told.
Well, I mean, people are going to think you're a kook.
Oh, I know it. I know. I know that.
See, that's what's great about like having done this for so long. I have created a kind of alternate reality where it's like truth can really kind of flourish, because I don't have any proof. We could just say, oh, it's coincidence, and you were looking at that and you were thinking about that. All of those things. We can say all of that. And all of those things can be true from a certain perspective. But when we can just finally say everything is true, it's all true. And so, and I prefer to embrace a specific truth of everything being true. It's so easy to tell people that they're wrong. It's so easy to tell people what's not true. But why would I want to choose one thing not being true and not another thing? What evidence do I have that one thing is more true than another?
Exactly.
Is it science? Because science keeps finding things out that they were wrong. Science isn't any more right than anything else. Religion isn't any more right than anything else. And I just decide I believe it all. Because I don't have to, Earth flat, sure. I don't have to prove it. I mean, I can see people that believe in things and they run around not proving it or not looking like they believe it anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's just don't offer resistance and the world will present itself to you.
Exactly. No, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
In a good
You got
place.
a number?
Oh my God, I've never been without one. I'm going to go 11.
Oh, I love 11. Emptiness is valuable. Spokes, tire, rim, and hub all make a wheel, yet it is the space where the axle goes that makes it worthwhile. Clay is formed into a vessel. The vessel's function is to hold things. Thus, its form includes emptiness. A house can be built, but if it were solid, it would be useless. It is easy to see structure, but structure is there to expose the value of emptiness. And that's when you gave up, when you were going to head home, you embraced that emptiness. You embraced, like, that's it. Like, there's no more structure. I'm just giving in. And as you gave in, you allowed space for Bob to come in, and you allowed space for Tao to direct you. You allowed that space. But when it was all structure, there was no space. There was no space for that inspiration. There was no space. You were like, Waze. Waze isn't working. Turn it off and go home. And then boom, once you let go of the structure, you realize that the house isn't the walls, it's the space, it's the empty space within it that makes it all valuable. It's that empty space within you. It's that surrendering that makes it so valuable.
Well, it's funny because you know how I've never rested my whole life, and now I'm starting to rest, and I realize that my growth is in that quiet time.
It is.
Yeah. And I'm just realizing that,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, like there's balance in everything.
Yeah.
And so and then there's that one verse that talks about, stillness and integration, number 16, when we talk about that idea of, if you don't have that stillness, what's going to happen is you're going to get anxious and you're going to make bad decisions. But then if you can find stillness, you're going to mature. And that's what's happening to you, right? Like I know, like you're old, but right, you know, it's like, I mean, you know, we're all old. We're at a place where we should have matured, but we're seeing there's all of these places where we didn't allow ourselves the space to mature. Mm-hmm. And we're maturing now, right? In real time. We're like having experiences that's allowing us to surrender rather than be frustrated. And even though that frustration can come in, it's not controlling us the way it used to.
You know, emotionally, I feel I'm in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm in my 60s.
Right.
I am on, you know, I'm not going to say the short bus, but I definitely have grown miles in the past year or two. And you know what, wish could, you know.
Whatever.
Right.
You weren't ready. You weren't ready to mature, right? You weren't ready to do that. And if you did do that, you might not have the things in your life right now that support you doing it today.
That's a fact. Yes, you're
right. Know? Because I look at all that kind of stuff all the time. Because if I were to have gotten sober earlier, or if I were to have known the things I know now, I would take it for granted. I wouldn't be able to take it seriously. I know, because when I look back at myself and I say, if I didn't have this one specific experience, I would not have been able to maybe change my diet to such a degree that helps me with my MS.
Right.
It is. It's these little things. Yeah.
I definitely see that.
Yeah, and I really like this is when the Tao talks about you being like sacred. You know, like don't try and change things. You're sacred as you are, and it's great to arrive, but to arrive with that sort of idea of like, well, if I knew this before, it's like you're still, by doing this right now, you're getting younger. You don't have to be 20 to learn this, because you're 60 and learning this and feeling 20. Mm-hmm. Right? You're getting to be a whole new person. And that is just getting younger. And we get weirder and more sexy every day. You know, because we are loving ourselves. And, you know, I mean, I interviewed this one lady who had a CT scan or MRI scan or something of her facial structure, and her eye sockets over years of doing like this sort of work that we're doing actually became more aligned, because her fascia changed and her the things that were pulling on her all of the stress and tension that she was holding in her body actually changed her bone structure. You know, and that's the thing, we get younger when we stop taxing our bodies, because if our bodies aren't taxed, they can do what they're meant to do, and that means keep our skin flexible, keep our keep things moving and stay young. And that happens by loving ourselves, not by gripping and grasping.
What a great conversation to start the day.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. Absolutely. And my best to Bob.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Love you, dear. Bye-bye. It is such a gift to be able to be us. Speaking of which, from the Dominican Republic.
Buenos días, amigo.
Bueno, ¿qué tal?
¿Cómo estás?
No, estoy bien. ¿Y tú?
Muy bien, gracias.
Ah, muy bien. How are you?
I am well, my friend. I did my song yesterday, and I actually teared up. You know, I have a tendency to do that. Mm-hmm. Just seeing the kiddos, they learned my song. We did some dance moves to it. It was so beautiful, Martin John.
I'm so glad.
And today I get to speak in front of everybody. I'm like, oh, with my wonderful Spanish skills.
Muy bien. It's good.
So, but luckily there'll be a translator helping me because.
Yeah, no, you know, like it's. They don't know English, and they may know a little bit of English, but they're it's going to be hard. But like we show up, and we show them that I'm not foolish for trying. You know, like I'm going to start.
I don't mind being foolish. I think of some of the things I did yesterday. I may have appeared a little foolish, but that's okay because, you know, silly is where I live, and I embrace that now. You know, it's okay to be silly, and especially with kids, you know, they love it. I had a little girl, Martin John, so sweet, come up to me yesterday out of the blue and give me a big hug and told me that she loved me in English, nonetheless. And I was just like, This is why I do what I do. You know, it's those little moments that are such a blessing.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I'm so glad you're there, and so glad you're being able to affect these children in this way and enjoy it. How's your AC?
Oh, well, you know what's funny? It did show up, the little tiny thing. And I mean, it wouldn't cool off like a big space, but it's keeping me cool enough that I'm comfortable to sleep at night. So thank God for that. And I have a little portable fan. So one's on one angle, one's at the other one. And I'm like, I'm okay.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
I even had my favorite Dominican dish. I went back. I shouldn't have. Nope, I'm not going to show it on myself.
No.
I went back and had seconds. It was so good because I'm like, I don't know when I'll ever have this again.
What is it?
I'm going to get me seconds. It's mango. It's mashed plantains with like butter and garlic, and oh my goodness, it is so delicious. So I guess it's like the Dominican version of mashed potatoes, but they do it with plantains.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, good. Plantains are great. They're better than potatoes for your body.
Oh my goodness, so good. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so happy to hear from you. And what's on the plan? What's on the docket today?
Well, I told you, I'm like doing the opening, like I'm up there praying. I'm talking about the breastplate of righteousness and being in right standing with God. And I'm like, whew, that's a heavy one, but hey, you know, it goes right along with my song yesterday about being a soldier in the army of the Lord. So of course I'll, make reference to that, and, Soldado soy de Jesus.
Give me a number.
How about you pick one for me, my friend?
I'm on it. No problem. Number 68. Do what you love to do.
I am doing what I love to do, Martin John.
Yes, you are. Great athletes love to play, not win. Great fighters love to fight, not be angry. Great generals love to strategize, not destroy. Great employers love to employ, not be a boss. Great musicians love to play, not perform. They're not attached to identities or outcomes. They simply dance with what they love to do. This is in harmony with them.
Wow. I love that line. They dance with what they love to do. And that's what I was doing yesterday, dancing with what I love to do, Martin John.
You know, this isn't about outcomes. It's not about getting people to get baptized or to join
it's about
church.
Showing the love that I have in my heart. And it's coming across, you know, with that little, and I was at the park last night. We went and got ice cream. And, 3 little girls, I don't even know if they were girls that I had seen earlier in the day, came up to me and hugged me, Martin John. And I'm just like, look at God, you know? So I am very blessed. And, yep, I even have a dog try to give me a kiss. It's a big German Shepherd too. I'm like, whoa there, buddy, slow down. We don't know each other that well.
And that's the thing. When you show up as yourself, without designs to get people or things to be what you want them to be. You can just allow them to be what they are.
Yeah.
Then you can be what you are at the same time without trying to demand, right? This is reasonable living. It's reasonable to say, this is who I am and I'm showing up as who I am. And then if I'm going to show up as I am, I want them to show up as they are. I don't want them to appease me. I don't want them to do a thing because of me. I want them to be themselves. And if that's being different from me, I want to be able to embrace that as well. And this is the thing. You're there to preach your story and your way in your in their language so that you can communicate. But you're doing that because this is what you love to do. Like you're a teacher / librarian, you know what I mean? Like, you're moving yourself through life and showing people that they have value. It's not that the school gives you value. It's not that the grade gives you value. It's that you were born with value.
Right.
And you can show them that God sees that. But the only way that you can show them that is by you seeing it.
Well, I may not use the Spanish language perfectly, but I do use the language of love pretty daggone well. So I'm going to go and I'm going to share that today. And I think that comes across pretty strongly with me.
Yeah, it does. And you're getting the hugs to prove it. But you don't need proof. You just go out there and do what you love to do regardless of the outcome. You just keep doing that because Melissa is presenting this love in this big way, and they're able to receive it no matter what language they were born speaking, and even if they don't speak at all.
Well, speaking of love, I'm pretty sure you have gleaned this by this point, but I love you very much, Martin John. You have a wonderful day, my friend, and I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a wonderful day, and my best to the DR.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye.
Love you, dear. Bye-bye. It's wonderful to be in this space, right? To be in the space of being able to do what you love to do. Now, a lot of people may hear that and not believe it, not believe that they can do that, not believe that it's logical to do that, not believe that it's viable to do that, because we gotta have, we gotta make money and we gotta do this and we gotta do that. And it's like, well, I'm not saying that those things don't have to happen, but and a great athlete isn't necessarily an athlete who's getting paid huge amounts of money to be an athlete. It just says a great athlete loves to play, not win. So if you find an athlete that loves to win more than play, maybe they're not an athlete at all. I think about John McEnroe and stuff like that. It was just about winning. I think great fighters love to fight, not be angry. Great generals love to strategize, not destroy. I remember hearing a story about the idea of shutting a war down before it starts. That's strategy. This U.S. new Department of War and all that kind of stuff. That's all childish. It's all childish. It's not about destroying. It's about being able to strategize. That's what generals love to do. If you love to destroy, you're not a great general, because if you destroy, you're going to get destroyed. Right? If that's the energy you're putting out. But when you strategize, when you put yourself in your quote unquote enemy's shoes, you get to understand them more, which means you can understand yourself more. But if you just become the victim, if you're just out there saying they're wrong, well, that's the thing. You feel wrong. You somewhere have to deal with those things within you. You're not doing what you love to do. You're trying to get attention. You're trying to make inroads somewhere else. But when we can really get to a place where we can do what we love to do, then we can be ourselves. That's when we can embrace who we are completely. And when we put that ripple in the water, it goes out into the world. And as it goes out into the world, it affects other people. I mean, I love this show because I can put that ripple into the world. And I love this show because I just love doing it. Like, I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to affect the lives of the people around me. That just happens. And I can't deny the fact that, like, I'm a part of that change, but wasn't my plan to begin with. I just love the Tao. Hey, JK, how's it going?
I am well. How are you?
I am well as well.
That sounds good. I finally was able to center a piece of clay in a reasonable amount of time so that I could make I didn't make lots of things, but I made 2 vases and it got very high up and I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice when your muscles, like, you know, like even with you, so one, I you know, like, it takes a lot of strength to work with clay because clay's dense. So congratulations on that. But your climbing was probably very helpful because you built your shoulders up and things like that in order. And then, you know, like, and I know with clay, are you using your knee to like stabilize your hand and stuff like that? Like when you're,
I use my because I'm short, I have to kind of really lean into the wheel, but I have my arm kind of angled in such a way that it's my elbows in my tummy area and I kind of hold
in
it
your
with
what
that.
area?
My stomach, like my
okay.
abdomen.
Yeah. Right.
Like
Yeah,
I
right.
hold
Right
it
at your
firm there.
hip. Right.
Yep. And I kind of angle it so that, you know, it's locked in. And
It's
that
fun.
becomes
Like,
the
our
anchor.
bodies are amazing, right? Like,
It is, yeah.
You know, like, and it's like, oh, I need more strength, but I can't do it with my biceps. So I just like push it into my hip or push it into my knee or my thigh and just like get it in there. It's really good. It's so fun to just manipulate our bodies like that.
Yeah, it is. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but it was
Good.
it was good, you know. And I still like. It's funny because you get it centered, and then you look at it. Well, I looked at it, and I was like, "Is it? Is it really happening?" Like,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And then the next one's completely different. But and it's
Absolutely.
not.
Practice makes
It's just
progress.
fun. That's it. And I spent hours, you know, there just making mush because I would just go and try to center and it'd come out floppy and it would come out. And I just, you know, and it was the amount of, I mean, I'm on my 3rd plus bag of clay at this point. So, and
free clay. Just
run
through.
Well, that's what they said. And they have
what kind of clay is it? Is it low fire, high fire? Is it a stoneware?
No clue.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's like the clay color. I don't know if that tells you anything. Probably not.
Clay comes in all sorts of colors. Is it red? Is it gray?
Yeah, it's that red clay color, like
the red clay.
Earth.
Okay, so that might be terracotta.
Something. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's low fire probably. Did you? What phrases do you know about the state of clay? Like, do you know, like, bone dry?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nothing.
All right. We'll move on. All right. I'm not a ceramist, but so many of my friends are ceramists, and I've made I've made plates and mugs and things like that, and I've hand built them all with slabs. So I slab build. And I have made pinch pots and slabs. So that's what I've worked with. I've never worked with a wheel. It's a little intimidating for me, but maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't know. It was intimidating for me too, but I like it. I didn't know that. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to. My stuff is still lopsided, and it's still.
But that doesn't. Again, you know, just like we were talking about with Sandy, clay is formed into a vessel. A vessel's function is to hold things. Thus, its form includes emptiness. Its function is to hold things. It is not its function is not to be round. It's not to be perfect. Its function is to hold things. And so does your vessel have a place to hold things?
Yeah. And that's,
so then it's a success. So then no big deal.
The best part, so this is what I did. So I made this vase, and then I was the clay got thin at the top, and I'm trying to make the neck of the vase, and the clay's getting thin and sloppy and all that. And I had my arms, and it was like my little fingertips just resting on it to kind of let the wheel kind of recircle the top of it after the neck, and whatever the lip, I guess it's called, but. Then I moved my finger and it made a hole in the top part of the vase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was like, man. So I tried there was not enough clay to build it back up. So I wound
push
up,
it down.
Yeah, I took the top off and then I just made a little neck. And then I messed that up. And then I was like, oh man. So then I just had this like lopsided and I started pinching aside like the top of it. So by the end of it, everybody was like, wow, that looks really cool. But I just picked off pieces of clay because there was nothing else I could do. I only had this little bit of stuff and I couldn't reform the neck. And instead of throwing out the thing, and it looks kind of like a sunflower on the top because I just pinched it up. I mean, it's stuff like that when you don't, like you were talking about earlier, when you don't have an idea. I don't care if it's crooked. I don't care if it just is. And
I'm
the
not
clay,
and one of the wonderful things about clay is going to tell you what it can do and what it can't. So the thinness, like when you're making it thin, that's going to dry in a different, if it's thicker on the bottom and thinner on the top, it's going to crack because the thin is going to get dry too fast and it's not going to be able to keep up with the thicker clay on the bottom. So trying to keep it all like one thickness helps the drying of the whole thing. You might have to keep that thinner part moist by wrapping it a little bit more than you wrap the bottom as it dries. But if you guys wrap it all.
I think we just put plastic containers over on top of them. That's what,
right. So if you were to take like some Tyvek, because Tyvek breathes in one direction, you can wrap your top if it's thin and have it loosely wrapped as it goes down to the middle where it gets thicker, possibly. I don't know. I'm not looking at the thing. This is just art instruction. This doesn't have anything to do with Tao. Because as it gets thin, like the thicker part is going to be still wet, and then you're going to get cracks right in the middle there where that shifts. A lot of times when you make stuff, what's really nice is you make a thing and then you cut it in half vertically, and then you look at the thickness of your clay to see if it's uniform, because the closer you can get to uniform, the easier it'll be to dry without cracking.
Yeah, the lady had a vessel that she had done just to kind of explain some of that, like the thickness part and all that to us. And I don't know that she like sold her pieces or anything. I think she's been doing pottery for, she's been doing this for like over 20 years. And it's just something she really enjoyed doing. So she created this, this storefront to, I guess, the opportunity. But I don't know that I think this was a love that she just had for doing this, which is really nice that, she gets to do
if
this.
you're making pottery, you have to get rid of it at some point because you just make so much.
You make so much. That's what I told her.
It does not take long to fill a cabinet. You know what I mean? Especially like when you're working with a wheel.
And that's why when I stopped with the wheel, I told her, I said, I went through a lot of clay just practicing centering. I didn't make anything from it because what I found is once I started making it, it was just, they were there in abundance. And I told her there's so many like cups that I can give away. Like people don't want it. Yeah. So, and I hate to just trash it. I'd rather you recycle whatever's left of the clay.
You rehydrate it, right? You rehydrate it and then you make something else with it. Like that's the great thing about clay. If you don't bisque it, if you don't fire it, it can just be rehydrated. You know, and then you can make it into a slab, or you can kind of put it back on a wheel and other things like that.
That's awesome.
You have a number?
Yeah. I don't. Oh, I do. No, I
Okay.
don't. You
Oh,
can pick one.
do you have one now?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
38.
38.
38.
Okay, I knew it would come back around. Good. 38. Dissolution of Tao. Masters have nothing to prove, making their power self-evident. Others continue to grasp at power. Thus, they never have enough. Clay. Or vessels. Or whatever. Masters needn't do a thing. In so doing, nothing is disregarded. Others are constantly doing, leaving everything else still to be done. The kind man does, and in so doing, reveals all that remains undone. The just man does, and in so doing, reveals all that still needs to be done. The moral man does, and when there is no support, will use force to gain consensus. When Tao is lost, we lean on etiquette. When that fails, we turn to morality. When morality dissolves, we teach ritual. Those who have only known ritual are filled with shadow and ignorance. Therefore, the master concerns herself with the substance, not the shadow. She has no destination, only to reside within herself, not the manifestation.
Well, that last part is really, it's a long road. It's interesting to get there, but to see that that's, for me anyway, that's the easier way. And these things that I do, when you start something new, it is intimidating. Like I sat in that class and there was a lady that was sitting there and she's spinning her stuff and it's all getting and I said, wow, that looks awesome. And it was awesome. And she goes, yeah, I've taken this class like 6 times, and it's because she loves to do it and she wants to just do that. She goes, I just come back and I get the instruction again and I learn something new. And that was exactly what I did. I mean, the guy came and he's like, are you having trouble centering that piece when I was there for Open Studio? And I was like, no, I'm just playing because it's interesting to see where's my hand heavy handed. I have my crooked finger, which is always interesting, and how that, forms the clay because the top of my finger pushes in. So it pushes in and it's not flat or straight. So that always leaves a little ridge and all these things to know about your body and how it moves and how it, how it operates in the world and all the things. Like I have another new class coming up and I've been doing my Spanish stuff and, things like that. Just, it's a lot, but I really like it. And I'm not doing it for I had a conversation with somebody yesterday about this class I want to take. I was kind of doing some discernment and what a beautiful conversation. I was like, I have no clue what I'm going to do with any of this. I said, I'm just interested and this is what called to me, and so we'll see.
Yeah, when this talks about, therefore the master concerns herself with the substance, not the shadow. The shadow being the stuff, the shadow being the outcome, the shadow being the thing that is left behind after the light is absorbed by your presence, right? So that is what shadow is. And we can look at that as being, oh, look, you can run around with your mugs and your bowls and your vases and all of these other things. And you can say, this is what I did. Look at what I did. That is you concerning yourself with the shadow, not the substance. But the substance is that play. Just like we were talking about with number 11, you dance with what you love to do. I think that was 11. No, that was 68. You dance with what you love to do. So, when I'm looking at this, it's all very much about you have nothing to prove. You're just here to take the class. And you can take the class again, and you don't have to go in there and prove that you're an expert or prove that you're a novice. You just are here. And that makes your power self-evident. That makes it so that you present yourself as you are. And that is powerful. It's just powerful to be who you are. And this is about being who you are. I'm being drawn to this. I don't know why. I don't know what. It's like, just like when I walk the Camino. I didn't know why I was being drawn to do that. I knew that I'd do it at some point, but I didn't have any interest, and then I did. Same thing with, climbing outdoors or going to do top rope. at a mountain. It's like, I have no interest in doing that. That doesn't mean I won't ever have interest in doing that. I just currently don't. And we'll see. We'll see if that ever turns into anything. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. That's not for me to decide right now. But right now, I know that I just don't have interest in that. I still have interest in climbing, just not in this way. I'm not interested. And when we know it's not about an outcome, it's not about a result, it's not about a destination. It's just about me engaging with my body, with my life, with this time I have.
Yep. And that was the conversation I had yesterday about this class. He's like, I don't, because I missed some of it, well, a good portion of it, but I can go back and I can I have the material and all that. But the interesting part about it is he says, I don't like to tell people when or.
You dropped off. If you wanted to come back up and finish that'd be great. Yeah, it's, when you concern yourself with the substance, not the shadow. Go on.
I don't know where I left off. I was just having the conversation about the class, and I said to him, I said, is it okay because I missed this much material? And he goes, I don't like to dictate that. He said, because we don't know. And I said, well, I'm glad that is a good thing for me to hear, because I don't know where I'm going to be when the next class starts. So I may not have any interest. Right now I have interest for whatever reason. And we talked about that. I said, this is when I'm being attracted to this. In 6 months when the next class starts, I might not be in a position to take it. For whatever reason, I'm drawn now. And, I wanted to, unless he had any reservations about me doing this. But he said no. So that was it. And I was glad I called and had the conversation, because that was a concern. I didn't want to put time and effort into something if I wasn't, if it didn't make sense to. And he goes, no, you do this at your own pace, really. He said, we cover stuff and it's up to you. So we'll see.
Good. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Love you. We will talk again soon. Yeah, all of these, it's so important to be who we are in this moment, and that doesn't mean to be a certain way, because, we talked to Sandy and she got frustrated, because Waze wasn't working. And, but that frustration, her being her and allowing herself to be her, right? Not just powering through and trying to, figure it out. She just shut it down. That was her instinct. Her instinct was to shut it down, and she found her way. And along the way, she found little hints that she's being held. What a beautiful way to experience our life, right? Just being herself. That doesn't mean she has to be a self that she proclaims to be. That doesn't mean she has to be an identity. She just has to be herself. And when we can be ourselves, we get those little nudges. Now, if you don't get a nudge, that doesn't mean you're not being yourself. So maybe you're just doing it. Maybe this is the nudge. It's always connected that way, where it's like we get the opportunity to be who we are. And when we can surrender to who we are, when we can surrender ourselves to that moment, maybe the nudge will come, and we can have an impact event like Sandy had, where it's like, oh, Bob is with me, and blah, blah, right? Maybe that'll happen, but maybe not. That doesn't mean you're not doing it right. That just means that that's not happening for you right now. I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe you'll never have that experience, but maybe you're opening yourself up in a way that doesn't require it. Sandy required it, so she had it. You can be yourself without having those deep impact events. You can be following Tao without it standing up and making itself known to you. You know, a lot of us want those big movements. We want big things to happen. We want to be able to tell people about things. We want to be able to, convince people that this is the right way, or this is magical for me. And you're only going to find a handful of people that are going to understand that anyway. You know, like I was talking to Sandy, I was the first person she told. Why? Because one, this is a safe space to talk about the kookiness of life and the woo-woo-ness of our experiences, right? This is a place that we can do that. And I love that I can be here for you to do that, because it is woo-woo out there, folks. Like it is definitely woo-woo out there. And there is magic happening around us all the time. And one of the things that I just love to do is to get people to see that magic and to put down the old ideas of the old paradigm of the, I love people to, let go of old frames of reference that shut themselves down, and really lets themselves down too. It's wonderful. And so that I love what I do. I love coming up here. If you guys benefit from what I do, definitely check out the links in my profile to learn more. You can work with me. If you want to set up a free 30-minute call, you can do so on my website. If you want to pick up a copy of my Tao Te Ching, you got links in my profile that will lead you to that. You can also look at the text of the Tao on my website, martinjohn.com/Tao. The last thing, if you want to help support me and support this show, you can go to those links and support me through Venmo or buy me a coffee. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.